All right, so here's what I observed, right? It's Christmas Eve. You come, it's about 45 minutes ago. And I'm like, oh, so here's a nature lover. She's probably coming for the seals. Do you know about the seals?
I haven't seen any seals lately. That's why, maybe because like the trash might have been just like pushing them away. It's just a lot of things in general.
All right, I'm gonna find out about the seals because I just learned about the seals like a couple of weeks ago when I was here.
There was used to be like a lot of seals here.
So what brings you down here?
This is really the beach I go to kind of when I'm just need a break from the world. So I usually come here, and I just came back down, back up to New York from Florida, and I came back to this beach, and just like it broke my heart looking at the beach of how like just disgusting and how like it's insane. Like I found like all sorts of things that shouldn't even belong at like a beach in general. And it broke my heart, so that was 3 days ago, and I was like, I told myself, I was like, I need to clean this beach just for me, just to look at it. Like, I loved looking at the beach and just seeing how, like, pretty it was, like, the water just coming in. And it really sucks knowing that, like, people are just trashing it with beer cans, with flower pots I saw. It was insane, and it was very uncalled for, and when I was doing it, I guess I got, like, very emotional, and I kind of just stopped for a second. Because it sucks, like, this is the planet we live on, and we should be taking care of something that is very precious to us, that not a lot of people, like, take for granted. Like, they just throw things thinking, like, oh, it will go somewhere else. But in reality, it comes right back to our beaches. And it's not just in Hawaii or in other places where they're getting cluttered with trash. Now it's happening at our beaches, and it's a very, like, eye-opening moment, in a sense, to, like, realize that it's not just anywhere else, it's here too that it could happen. So
yeah, it's beautiful. So leave no trace is something that really isn't sinking in to some people.
yeah.
And then it sinks in the completely other side of the spectrum with people like you. You're way too young to remember this, but there was a pretty popular public service announcement with a Native American like seeing the trash, and he would have a tear, you know, and you're doing that like naturally, you know, like I could hear in your voice you're breaking up, and I feel it, you know. It's rough. So this project is more about, so there's all these other projects out there about sustainability for the earth, like drive an electric car. Elon Musk is my big hero. That perspective, right? Cleaning up what you're doing. This is more, I'm coming from the other perspective of sustaining yourself, like don't miss the magic show while you're here. So do you remember like a childhood memory where you first realized like, wow, this is magical, like looking at a leaf or whatever?
I don't know, I feel like ever since I was little, I was always usually just attracted to like the oceans and just nature itself, because I would always go like hiking and stuff, and just a very outdoorsy person, especially with my family.
So your family taught you how to love nature?
The thing is, they go out and stuff, they're just not very like with my dad, with, you know how the paper bags are going around, how people are like, bring your own bags to stores and stuff. He's a little against that just because he can't get a bag. So it's like I've seen their views, and I've also been seeing especially like how the world is now, and especially our generation looking at like what it's turned to. And I'm a very big fan on like statistics and like numbers, and looking at the ratio, it kind of just was.
So when you say bags, you're talking about like single-use items versus reusable?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's most of the stores now in New York are doing reusable,
Yeah.
especially like public.
Do you feel that your relationship with nature has been growing throughout your life?
Just recently, I feel like for the couple few years, like since I've been away from home, I've been more in like Florida just because it's a warmer place, and the amount of nature there and the preserves there are just like, it kind of made me fall in love with nature more. Like I always had a self-respect for it, but I never really kind of went out to do something.
What's your take on squirrels?
Squirrels. They're cute.
Interesting face you made there. Do you get to see them often?
Not very often. The last time I remember just like, I guess seeing a squirrel was like when I almost hit one and I had to like stop on my brakes.
Is that what made that face? Like you're afraid you're gonna hurt one?
Oh no,
Oh.
My brother had like a bad experience with one just attacking him I have no idea. He might have been like trying to play with it, but it got too scared.
Oh, sometimes like if you're feeding them, or if they're very young in the springtime, the babies don't know like what's what. I've had one climb on me once, and I just like I gave it because I really don't believe like the rabies thing is it is so rare.
He didn't get any at all.
It's so rare that I let it do its thing, and it was memorable, but it caused me tension. There's no doubt about it. I'm a huge fan of squirrels. Like I love watching them. And the thing about squirrels that I tell people is like, this is the mammal that figured out how to coexist with us. The one and only. All the other ones, the deers and the wolves, they're out of here, right? They're not here. And the other guys, like the rodents and the opossum, they take a low profile. They're only out at night and they don't show up. So I think with the tail, the squirrel's tail being fluffy and cute helps them a lot. And I'm wondering, like, did they evolve that because they knew we needed cute?
That's true.
I don't know.
Some animals, just people perceive them as cute and they're like, oh, it's fine, like don't bother them.
That's one of the reasons squirrels are doing, I think that's one of the reasons, right?
They're like smaller animals, so it's kind of like, it's like, oh, they're not there.
And they keep to themselves.
Exactly.
So you were out there a long time, right? And were you like, all right, here's the question. So you made a dent, right? You know there's still stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
How does that make you feel? That you did a job, like you made a major effort to come out here, you planned it, you thought about it for 3 or 4 days. And yeah, so how does that make you feel? Like you came out with a bag, a big black garbage bag. You put it in the garbage bag can over there. Did you think about that at all?
I thought like after when I was leaving, I was like, I have to like come back here again and try to do a little bit more. Like just, it might not be for a full day. I could clean the whole entire beach, but at least do like a little at a time to just help.
Would you plan like coming with buddies and trying to do like a thing, or you just want to just do it?
I don't really have too many friends here, so
they're down
hard.
in FLA.
But it's hard. But if I could, like if my friends were interested in coming here, I shared it on my like story just to like for people kind of just to realize like
that's good.
You have to make a difference.
That's
and
it.
I never like coming here. I haven't seen it at all, and it broke my heart. So I felt maybe if people like start seeing what's actually happening in their town, maybe they'll start like coming together and like getting up. So it's like kind of a domino effect. Like one person does something, and then hopefully it'll like chain on.
Excellent. Do you own a pair of binoculars?
I do.
And do you use them?
I do. We were looking.
Is that something? Is that
like,
something new that you do, or?
Actually, I've done that since I was very little, like to look up at the stars
really?
And stuff like that. I love the constellations. And we were looking at, I believe it was the 2 planets.
Saturn and Jupiter.
Yes, that was really cool.
That's excellent. Yeah, no, like, so I've been to 21 parks in the last 3 months. And, you know, since the pandemic and stuff, people are definitely more outdoors for some obvious reasons. And so when I ask that question, like, is your relationship with nature growing? I'll get things like, yeah, you know, I just bought a pair of binoculars for the first time, and I get to see like the squirrels, like little minutia moves, you know, they're totally adorable. I mean,
I love that.
Like incredible. There was 100 people there for the sunrise.
That's beautiful.
I know, it's been very inspiring. Arbors that run like parallel to the ground about 8 feet high, and that gives them a place to run. So I'll do it near windows, so you could be inside the house watching TV or doing whatever, and you'll see them like bolt by doing their thing. And it's this way of connecting.
That is so.
There's all these ways, right?
There's like ways to just like incorporate nature, also just incorporating yourself too. Like not disturbing them fully, but also just giving them stuff to do as well. Yeah,
so like an example I tell people is like, I have like these 3 really smooth rocks in my pocket. They're always changing, but like, you know, I just touch like, so if I'm in the city and I want a direct blast of nature, I'll look straight up. I look straight up a lot and kind of like just blocks. I'm only seeing the sky and the clouds. And that actually, if you do that, it's amazing if you could just focus like that's the atmosphere and it goes up X miles, and then on the other side of that is the rest of the universe. It makes it balances you out while you're in the city. Things like that. Like, so people have told me they've have, so I have like all this driftwood on my dashboard, on the grill too, but like, you know, like up here, you know. So if I'm in, and I go that extra mile.
Incorporate nature everywhere.
And it's just from a scientific standpoint, you know, you hear it all about like how it calms people down and how they've survived great trauma with nature. So, but having it there every day, like a little baby aspirin. Oh, it's the first time I thought of that, but that's kind of what it is.
That is.
Little hits.
I'm into crystals.
There you go.
But there's this, I think it's jade or new jade, the crystal, and it's supposed to help like you connect with nature more. And I got that like a few days ago. I think it was actually the day before like I came here, and I saw it. I was like, oh god. And apparently it's supposed to just like help you connect, and even when you're away from nature, it's still supposed to give you like that.
That's what we're talking. That's a beautiful example.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this one guy came with his wife to the garden at our home, and he whips out of his pocket this beautiful shell. Like, I didn't tell him about me with the rocks yet. And I'm like, there's another great example. So that's part of this project, is hearing what other people are doing, like as, you know, guides to maybe that's how you want to do it, you know. So I really appreciate it. If you're in New York, I think in the springtime we're going to start doing the backyard thing again.
Yeah, usually I come back during summerish.
So if you want to come with a friend, you know, and you check me out in the summer, we could say, I remember that time when you were cleaning up the fishing piers. Is nature a member of your family?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I really do consider it, because every time I'm like in nature or I'm just like around or surrounding outside, I always feel more at peace than I am like enclosed at home. Just when you also like just taking off your shoes and like any gloves or anything like that, and putting your hands to the ground and just like feeling nature, I guess. It's kind
great.
of sounds crazy.
No, not at all.
Vibrations
It's
and,
beautiful. Yeah.
Just to be with it.
So it's a member of the family that calms you down.
Yes.
It's a member of the family that feeds you. It's a member of the family that shelters you.
It's like my therapist.
And you're aware, and it's the member of your team that keeps you balanced.
Exactly.
It's great that you're so plugged in, man. You're really up there. Well, I knew I had to talk to you. I was like, I hope she's not in a hurry. I hope I don't come off as a creep, you know.
Stop it, don't worry about
Well, you
it.
know.
I love talking to
So
you
this
about
part is called Wandering with Strangers.
it. I love that.
And I said to a friend the other day, I go, who needs friends when you have strangers?
No, literally. You meet them anywhere, and like also you know the similarities. So it's like you're already connected.
And the spontaneity, I think, is really important. Like if I was talking to a friend, like they're in character, I'm in character, we know each other's characters. So like, you know, I don't know you, you don't know me, but this is the thing we all have in common. Exactly. So it's going to be the easiest thing to talk about if you have the time. And getting deep with people that you don't know. I mean, I'm asking you what you love. I mean, it's pretty deep.
Exactly, I feel it.
And then you started crying almost, like talking about it. And I've been through a lot of crying lately, so I think that's why I didn't start crying with you. A little dry, but I'm like, man, I could feel what she's saying.
No, yeah, and I'm a very empathetic person, I guess. Like, I have that in me.
Yeah. As pollution goes, this is the floatables, this is the surface visuals, like things you can't see that are soluble in the water, things you can't see what's going on with the atmosphere. This is the thing you can really see, so there's less of a reason why we're doing it. You know, like you said, it's like, really, like how do you feel when you just, and I honestly, if I see someone doing that, that's gonna be a great conversation, because I really wanna learn that. I'm not coming at them with like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. I'm gonna be like, so what are you doing here? You know, like, what is this? You think about this? Like, I really would love you to share with me so I can understand how this works. With like just chucking stuff.
I feel like some people, because I know people have been in like just at the beach and they're like kind of not really thinking or keeping in mind that this is like I'm throwing trash out that could really harm other animals, and I don't think they really think that process going through when they like throw. I feel like sometimes they are oblivious in what they're doing, and then some people just have no regard for like it. Like sometimes, and sometimes people like throw out like, of course, the minuscule But what really gets to me is like just the bigger things that you're leaving, like beer bottles and that. I know, like throw stuff all over, but it's like you can just take that one piece and not have someone go out for hours just to pick up your own trash.
Yeah, so I think like this ad campaign that they had with the Native American, like it needs to be every kind of person doing the tier and talking about what you're doing. Every age, every race, every religion, just saying like, you know, what's going on here.
And it would help. No problem.
Yeah. So I'll just finish with this. So when I find that queen bee, wherever the queen bee, so my goal is I want to build a wilderness garden in like a mall parking lot or a place that's been just shattered, you know, like paved over hard. So, you know, there's a song, took paradise, paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
Yeah.
I want to do the opposite and film how that goes to help promote what we're talking about. So I would guide it. So wherever it would be, I would either guide it from like, you know, a phone and just have people understand. So that's kind of the ultimate goal.
I love that. There's also a lot of, I've known like there's an abandoned mental asylum or whatever.
Pilgrim State, you're talking about?
Yeah, there's a perfect like also area because no one's there and it just needs more like regrowth from it.
Yeah, and like maybe someone from so this would be obvious up to the queen bee, but like what I have envisioned for this is like it could be a bar, it could be a restaurant, you could be spread out, you could be outside, you could be sitting on warm stone, you know, like, yeah. So you'll see like some of the pictures of the stuff. Like the next stuff I want to do is like having like tidal decks where the water like rises in a little bit and then goes back down. And yeah. I do log jam waterfalls, like logs down and water like moving. Just from studying nature, it's basically copying nature, and anything that would be man-made or man-cured is out. So those are the rules. So you take in every conceivable law that nature has with orientation and groundwater right from the bottom up. You know, so forest floors, no lawns, no angles, you know, all organic, non-conforming spaces. So yeah, so if you come to the garden, it's pretty nutty. So it's all like 60 by 100. I live in West Hempstead. So right now, you know, I'm in the middle of suburbia and it's all lawns and people taking their trees down every year. After every storm, another beautiful oak tree goes down. And then you come to, I'm in the middle of the block and it's like pine needles. And I put up a sign when I started this project, like, you know those signs when you go into a park, they're like brown with yellow writing?
Yes.
So it says wilderness area, free access upon, you know, checking out the site, and we'll do this like wonder journey together about what we love about nature. So I'm sitting in my house, right, ever since, and a woman called me the other day. So that's where I'm getting like very interesting, another way. Like this is the really cool way with the strangers, and that's another way. So you could see them at a certain, like walking through suburbia, they're at a certain pace, right? But then when they hit that just my property line where the pine needles are, they like a lot of them slow down. And then when the ones read the sign, it's like they're literally in deep wilderness. It's wild.
That's amazing because it's different than like what you normally see, and it's like,
otherworldly.
It's eye-catching.
They're literally going into like Alice's hole, man. They're in an other world. They go from ordinary world to otherworldly, and you get this. So it's like another example of why you have to have that rock in your pocket, that crystal, that driftwood.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. I'm so proud of you.